All right, it's show time. What is going on, C3? And those of us who are tuning in, who may be guests, who this may be your first time, or maybe you're not a partner of C3, but you just really enjoy watching these interviews. I want to welcome you. I'm Dr. Leslie Francisco McClendon. I'm the senior pastor of C3 in Hampton, Virginia. Hey, do me a favor as you're coming in. If you would just share this broadcast, it would mean the world because we have a very, very exciting topic that we are talking about tonight. So if you will share this and also let me know where you're tuning in from. Y'all know how we do. I would love to shout you out, to say hello to you, to see how you're doing. But this one I'm really excited about because it is very informal. It's a very chill interview. Well, we'll see. That's how we planned it to be. But we are going, hey, Sister Caroline, we're going to be talking about prospering in the middle of a pandemic. I know that that is a word that I feel strongly about. It's a word for our special guest tonight. And maybe that is a word for somebody who is watching us tonight. And so I want to introduce to you, I don't want to belabor the time. Our special guest actually lives very closely to me. She is a resident of Hampton, Virginia. And I want to welcome Jasmine Harris at this time. Come on, let's put our virtual emoji hands together. What's up, Jasmine?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, let me see. Can I hear you? I am good. Look at this. My camera is a little, hold on. This is real. Is that better? I had to wipe that off so y'all can get a clear picture. This is why I like, hey, what's going on? We got someone from Bloomfield, New Mexico. My mother is watching. Come on, y'all share this. Sister Terry, what's going on? Let's get this out to as many people as possible because I'm excited about this interview tonight. So we've got Jasmine. Now, Jasmine, I have known you for a very, very long time, but those people who are watching may not know you. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do professionally? Let us know just the rundown. How long have you been a member of C3? Are you born and raised here in Hampton, Virginia? Just give us a little background context on your life so we can get to know you.
Okay. Well, I'm Jasmine Harris. I've been a member of C3 since I was 5 years old. So that's 23 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. I am a financial analyst right now for the shipyard. I just started there. I make my year next Wednesday. I was born in New Jersey. So we moved here when I was 5. My uncle was actually stationed here in Virginia and introduced us to Calvary. He's now at Houston.
Cool.
And that was how we got to Calvary. So, yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it has. Well, what do you do professionally? Kind of what do you do now?
So right now I work for the shipyard as a financial analyst. Basically, my role right now is currently I take all the fixed assets for the different entities in the shipyard, work with disposals, acquisitions, different things like that. Also forecasting their plans, budgets, things like that. Mm-hmm.
You are speaking in a different language. I am glad that you work there because that is not on my resume. It sounds great, but that's just not something that I have any experience in. But like you said, you've been going to C3, then known as just Calvary, since you were 5 years old, and now you're 20, what?
28.
28. Wow, so 23 years. And I just wonder, for those of us who are watching, why do you choose to stay connected with so many options out there? Like there are churches everywhere. Like what caused you to kind of like stay plugged in?
I would say like the family oriented value that C3 talks about and teaches us is very real. I can take, for example, I know when I was in college, I went off for my first year and I came home, packed everything up, and I told my parents I was dropping out of college. And I was very
Wow.
serious. I didn't register or anything like that.
Wait, pause. So you were in the middle of college and you just made up your mind. I mean, what happened? Were you bored? Were you over it? Like, what were the emotions you were feeling there?
I just didn't feel like, I mean, I originally wanted to just work at a bank. I did not want to go to
Okay.
college. My mom, she is the one who did all the, signed the paperwork, did
Yeah.
everything that you needed to get in, and dropped me off. It was like, you're going to college. So that's where
Wow.
I was. And after the first year, I just didn't like it. I felt like I was struggling academically. And I just came home and told both my parents that I wasn't going back. So,
Now you are so bold. Like, was there any anxiety there saying like, oh my gosh, I'm about to tell my parents I'm dropping out? Or were you so over it? It was like, I don't even care. I'm just telling them it is what it
yeah,
is.
I was so over it. I just told them, and I just felt like, hey, you have to accept it. And which is weird because that's not who I am. But
Right.
usually
Yeah.
I'm very overthinking and everything like that. But in my freshman year of college, I wasn't at the point where I developed the thoughts, the thought process that I have now. But yeah, I
Hmm.
just came home and told them. And I think my dad's first reaction was like, because I took out loans for my first year, he was thinking like,
Okay.
oh, we're going to have to pay those back immediately, like, what are we going to do? Like, this is crazy. But my mom's first reaction was to go tell Bishop. So she
Oh,
went
that
and
is
told
great.
Bishop. Yeah, she went and told Bishop, and Bishop told her that's not going to happen. And she told me this, and I just laughed because,
Be honest. What were your thoughts?
I was just like, Bishop can't tell me what to do, So I just felt like this isn't really going to happen.
Wow.
And that year we went to the Minnowwood Conference.
Okay.
And so actually the vice president of my university, Eastern Mennonite University, was there.
Mm.
And Bishop was there. So Bishop sat me down and he told me that you're going back to school. Like, this is what
He
you
sat you
do.
down while you were away at a conference.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he told me that I was going back to school. And, I just said, no, I just laughed it off. I was just being nice. Well, Bishop had met with the vice president of the university and talked to him. And so that the vice president at the time spoke to me and asked me, what is something that we could do to bring you back?
Hmm.
And so like, I just said, oh, I don't want to live on campus. I didn't like that experience. I just threw it out there, and he said, well, welcome back to EMU. And I was like,
Wow.
no, this is not what I wanted. I didn't want to go back.
Right. You're like,
So
I was just saying that. I wasn't expecting you to just say that's okay.
exactly, exactly. So it was just like, I'm thankful for that experience. I mean, here I am now with my master's degree. So it's just like, well, if I wouldn't have stayed the path, if I didn't have your family bishop to coach me through and say like, you can do this. And even in that experience, it was several times that he reached out to me to make sure that I was still, doing the path that I was supposed to be doing. So it's just like all of that, and just even in different
Yeah.
areas, connecting with you in high school, and it's just so much family and not
You worked
just
me like a dog in high school.
I
Nicole
didn't
says
think
right
that
here,
out.
you should have said free tuition.
Exactly. I wasn't thinking. I just
But
wanted to
hindsight is
go back.
2020. But even in the middle of that too, like I think I forgot about this part. Like tell us about that experience. Not only did you go back to college, but didn't you like study abroad, learned a
Yeah.
whole nother language and
Yeah. So even in that, I studied abroad, and it's funny because I feel like your family is always there, because I studied abroad and I was gone for 4 months. I went to Guatemala
yeah.
and Mexico. In that experience, I just felt like giving up in that experience, and it was just really hard. And lo and behold, there was Nicole. Nicole reached out to me
You have a
while I was.
community.
Exactly. She reached out to me while I was over there, gave me some devotional and some just encouraging words that I was able to use while I was out there, and it was the best experience of my life.
That is great. Well, even with the college experience, like, have you always wanted to be in finance or administrative, like in the business aspect?
Yeah. So it's funny because I started at Calvary working with money. I worked with Barbara, actually counting ties back in I think I was I had to be in middle school or something. And so I was
Wow.
her account, the tithes and offering. And that just sparked so much interest to me,
Mm.
just dealing with money. And then later on, I worked with Glenn Guyton, who was youth pastor at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just always like people just grabbing me in and giving me the opportunities to be able to flourish in that. And so I really enjoyed working with administrative. I went to college, came back, and was looking for a job. Nicole Francisco Bingley was there again, and she got me connected.
Nicole, you get a trophy tonight.
She was there and connected me to my job that I got right out of college, which was a law firm. Which then I was able to decide if I wanted to work in the legal field or in the finance field, and that's when I really had the most exposure in finance, and I really enjoyed it and wanted to like dive deeper into it. And that's when I was afforded the opportunity to get my master's paid for in full. So that's what I, studied.
If you want your master's or your degree paid in full, in the comments, say, "Do it for me, Lord." The same grace that is on Jasmine's life, give it to me. And speaking of like that whole grace-based thing, so you started a new job like several months ago, coming out of the law firm and then transitioning into working with the shipyard, and then bam, a pandemic hits, right? And you're forced or you're strongly encouraged to stay at home. Can you tell us what that transition was like? I mean, were you calm? Did it throw you for a loop? Were you like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm new. What were those emotions like?
Yeah, it was actually interesting because so I think we stopped working like March 13th, I think is when they sent everybody home. But I actually took that day off. So I was already off that day. And then I got a message saying, hey, you're not coming back into the office the next
week. That would have
week.
scared me.
Right.
But I'm guessing you had context behind it.
Right. So I was a little nervous. And I actually had my laptop. So we had the capacity to work from home, occasionally and things like that, especially with me living in Hampton and my job is in Virginia Beach. So we had that capacity, but it was still like nerve wracking because as being a financial analyst, I work with a team. So a lot of things is, across the hall, running over, running different reports, analyzing the data together. It was a little bit difficult at first to completely do virtually. Even in that, we had someone who went on maternity leave during this pandemic. And so learning her responsibilities at home, virtually having virtual trainings to be able to take on her responsibilities while she was on maternity leave. And it's funny because she actually returned from maternity leave, but we're still home during the pandemic. So it's been challenging to say the least. And then our company actually had a couple layoffs. And so being able to take on other positions as well it's been very difficult to learn virtually. Training virtually, I think, has been the hardest thing for us. But it's been fun. I mean, I enjoy working from home. So I don't mind.
And speaking of all of that, I guess even in the stress, I remember I was on Instagram following you one day and I see these cakes and I'm messaging you like, you made that? Like, who did that? That's nice. Whatever. You're like, oh, that's me. And I see that you made this new Instagram page called baking_my therapy. Like, is the stress what sparked the hobby of yours? I mean, where did that come from? Did you grow up making cakes? Was it random? Like, take us through that whole journey.
It was actually really crazy. I guess like to give you some background, my best friend, Nicole, she is Nicole Abner. She lives in Oklahoma now. And she went to culinary school at Johnson & Wales, and that's her profession. So she's a professional in Oklahoma at a bakery. So I have been exposed to this since high school. She did the same thing. She did cakes out of her home in high school, and I was there. I helped her take pictures. I was in that. So I'm not sure why then I didn't, pick it up, which was very interesting. It was just like, it just shows me now in the season of me doing it that wasn't my time. When I needed it the most. And I think during this pandemic, it was just a lot of stress for me and boredom. And I couldn't figure out what to do in this time. And so I just randomly thought about, I like baking, but, I said, I messaged my best friend and asked her what would she think about doing a virtual class with me. And she was all for it. And so we decided to do a virtual class one day. Her being in Oklahoma, I'm here in Virginia,
Yeah.
and it just sparked, and I enjoyed it, and it just felt so good to do something. It was like using a different part of my brain. I'm always doing the numbers. I'm always in front of the
Right.
computer. So being able to do like something with my creative outlet was just absolutely amazing for me, and just like I just felt so good, and I felt all the stress was being relieved in baking this cake. And
Wow.
so I just started doing it, and it has just evolved.
And then I like you almost preached for a little bit. Well, the preacher in me got happy because you were saying when I was in high school, like I didn't realize what was the point of this. And I just kind of felt like, there are certain aspects of our lives where we're doing things and we don't understand what's going on. But like there's nothing, no opportunity that's wasted. Like sometimes we don't see what's going on, but things really do come, full circle. So I just thought that was cool to highlight that sometimes when we're just like, what is the point of this? Or why am I even here right now? Or it could be like, why am I in this dumb class? I'm not learning nothing in this class. And it comes back around full circle. And so I just love how life works sometimes.
Right.
But,
And I think
oh, go
like
ahead.
and it's like cool because like my best friend and I have had this conversation like after baking, and after like I'm in the season that I am in now. It's amazing how like I was exposed to it then, but it wasn't
Hmm.
for me then. So it's always like
Yeah.
to me it showed like a timing of like, and it just reassured that everything is in God's timing. I didn't need it at the time. Maybe I wasn't as stressed out or whatever the case may be, but it's like in the time that I needed it the most is like that's when God said, here's your talent that I want to expose to you.
Go do it, Jasmine. I love preaching.
It was so amazing. I mean, I just
Come
feel
on,
so
timing.
great. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is real. And because you don't want something to happen prematurely, right? Because
Right.
what if you would have gone about that in high school and it would have just been a total flop, and then you were trying to forcing something to work outside of its timing, it wouldn't have been therapy for you. It would have been just another level of like stress, another layer
Exactly.
of that.
Hmm.
But even with you making cakes, I mean, they're beautiful. If y'all haven't seen them, go on Instagram. I think it's baking underscore my therapy. She can correct me if I'm wrong. But the cakes look great. I mean, people have just been asking her left, right, up, and down all the time. Can you make me a cake? But what about this pandemic like made you turn baking into a side business? So I think it was a hobby, right? It was
Hmm.
therapy, and
Yeah.
then it kind of flipped a little bit where, I mean, aren't people asking you all the time now? When did you kind of make that shift? Were you like was this a quick turn off? Were you baking for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and then it was like, shoo, it took off? Like, tell us about that.
It really took off. I would say like I had only done two cakes at this point. And one of our graduates, the parents of the graduate, messaged me and asked me, what I want to make her son's cake. And I was a little hesitant, I had to let her know that I wasn't a professional. This is not what I went to school for. But I would be honored to, because I felt like it was giving something to him in this pandemic. He didn't get a graduation, but maybe I can do this special for him, and make his day in that.
Yeah.
And then once I accepted one, it was just like other questions, doing this because, and a lot of the stories that I was getting because of this pandemic, I still want to make that occasion special, or I
Yeah.
want it to be this, or I want it to be that. And so I felt honored for me to do it because I was not just making cakes and eating them myself, but I was able to help other people celebrate those moments, even and just being able to create. And I think that was my favorite part about it. Is a lot of the messages that I would get is just create something. So being
Yeah.
able to put my talent and surprising them, and being able to see their reaction for me has been just tremendous. I
Yeah.
didn't think it would be a business,
I
but
have I like while you're talking, I have like three nuggets that I'm just getting through this whole thing. The first thing was you said I wasn't a professional, but I said yes anyway, right? And because of the timing of it all, I mean, who is that? Is that me going in and out?
yeah.
What is that? Okay, internet connection. I'm trying see what happens when you try to get good news out that you're trying to tell people. Anyways, all right. Well, I heard a bunch of things. So I heard I'm not a professional, but I'm gonna say yes anyway. Take my headphones out. Hold on. Okay. It's probably me.
That's better. No. Okay.
Now, we good? Y'all are not gonna mess me up. Hold on. Okay, Jasmine, you keep telling your story.
Okay. But like I was saying, it's been an amazing experience. It's been a lot of fun to be able to help others in this time. It's just not anything that I expected that it would be, but it's been really fun, and I've been enjoying creating and being able to use the talent that God has given me, and it's just been amazing. I'm super excited about it. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a therapy for me. It's very therapeutic. To be able to get off work and to be able to just create something has been really exciting. And I think like that just shows the joy of, turning your being home into like something that's pretty productivity.
Yeah, man, that is great. Okay. Is the tapping gone?
It's there a little bit.
All right. I will walk with this whole computer if I have to finish this interview, y'all. Y'all don't understand. This is good to me. Okay. So let's see. I'm just gonna ask you the next question. I'll save my preaching for the end. All right. So what caused you to turn it into a business? Like everybody started asking you, and then you said, "Hey, I got to do something about this. Like this is getting out of control." Is that what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I just got so many requests. Different people have asked, and I finally just accepted. At first, I was hesitant to even accept because I just didn't feel I didn't feel I was good enough. Because I wasn't professional, and it just kept I just kept feeling, and my best friend kept just telling me, this is where you start, you have to start somewhere, and this is it. People are asking, and I think the most the most thing that makes me feel really good is after I made it for a person one time, they've come back, for other occasions or other birthdays or placed orders in the future to make sure that they're able to get that order fulfilled. So it just really made me feel good that it's not only just it looks good, but it tastes good too.
Yeah, and I think all throughout this, when it's your time. Anyway.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but seriously, I have to get this out. I'm sorry if y'all are gonna hear like typing noises. I really don't know what that is. That's the first time that it's happened. But I just feel like even through this, somebody who's watching me now, like you've just been sitting on your gift and you've just been holding it in. And like you said, I mean, that was so encouraging to me. I didn't know what I was doing. Like this was something that came naturally to me. This is something I wanted to do for me. But because someone asked, I'm just gonna go ahead and say yes. And like God bless the fact that you just said yes. And I just feel like that is so powerful for so many of us who are watching right now. Like sometimes it really is like not just having the faith for something, but that action plan, like having the follow through. And when faith and follow through collide, like it makes something so beautiful. And what I love about your story is like you are not, my feet hurt so bad at the end of the day. Maybe they do, but I don't see like you complaining or anything like that. It's literally like God has been turning your passion into a profit. Like that is major. And
yeah,
right? I don't know if you had something to say after that.
I mean, it's just I think I was looking at it says the other side of fear, and I just feel like in that I think that a lot of people should realize that take that fear away, and there's so many things that you can do and so many things that you can overcome. I mean, just tap into resources around you. If you even have a thought or an idea of something that you want to do, like ask somebody who knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And then allow them to push you and guide you in the right direction. I mean, that's what I did. And I put the fear of thinking that it wasn't good enough to realizing that, hey, it is good and it is worth what it is, And so it's just been really healing for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I just think that is so powerful. It's crazy. But was there ever a time where you felt like the the business kind of turned into a chore, or has it stayed therapy for the most part?
It's stayed therapy because I think that's really funny is one of the things that I think about. Like I usually have about like 2 cakes a week. So I don't have sometimes I'll say like, oh, I don't have a cake next week. Like that kind of like stinks. I really wish. It's like God hears me exactly when I say it, and then literally like either an hour later, someone will message me and say, hey, can I get a cake for this? I enjoy it. So I really like it hasn't been a chore for me. It's just been therapy for me. It's just been being able to create and surprise you and surprise myself on like what I actually can do.
But in the middle of a pandemic, like that's the part that is really just speaking to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think for me, the reason why, like, I felt like this was my reason or my timing, because I've always been a go, go, go type of person. Like, and if this pandemic wouldn't have happened in the way that it has, I would never have stopped to find something or for God to give me the talent when I needed it, because I'm always like, I have to do this. I have to go there. And because I can't do that, I'm able to listen and pay attention to what God has for me and actually do what he has called me to do. So I think even after this pandemic, like I plan to take time and not be so go, 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 because I feel like God has given me so much over this time that I'm not able to do that if I'm go, go, go constantly. So
that is the same exact thing that I feel too. I'm a very achievement oriented person, and so this is really hard for me to just sit back and really take in, what I'm supposed to be doing like in this season. But while I'm getting my audio together, let me ask you another question. What has this whole thing taught you? Have you learned any lessons throughout all of this?
Yeah. I would say that, like if there's anything that God has laid on your heart, to really hone into it and to really just listen, because I feel like even in this, to be completely honest, this is not something that I normally do. I don't speak, I don't do public speaking. I don't do any of this type of stuff. And it just shows, like, when you asked me, it was just kind of like, I can't say no, because I'm not allowing myself to be stretched in the capacity that God has for me. So it's just taught me to really just listen and just to pay attention. And I think that from there going forward, I think that God's going to be able to use me in many ways and to be able to stretch me and to show me. So I think it's just really taught me to just to be humble and just to listen and to allow, myself to be stretched in multiple areas.
Yeah. So what would you say to somebody who is maybe in that boat that's like, I'm just not ready yet? What words of encouragement would you give?
I think I would say, like, when you're feeling uncomfortable, I feel like that's the time to do something. Like when you're comfortable with something, you put it out there, but it's not really something that you're super passionate. If you're feeling uncomfortable about it, I just feel like that's the time where you hone in on what you are supposed to do, get different guidance, seek different resources, and actually do what you're being called to do. Like I feel like when you're comfortable, we can kind of just do whatever. So I think that's really what's helped me, is stretching and stepping outside of the box. So it's so easy, especially in this pandemic, to stay in that box, to stay in your, like, I know we all have to stay home, but we have to also branch out in our minds to think of, okay, what is something else that I can do? What can I turn this boredom into something that's productive and something that, like, I could say this helped me, or this is what I learned over this pandemic. So I think that was my biggest thing to say, is what can you say that I took away in 2020 during this pandemic? Oh, she's gone.
I can look at that. This is like such a test. This is funny because you were all like, I don't want to speak. And then here we go on an interview where it's like in and out, and you're like, no, you are not about to just leave me hanging like this. I think that is the best. But that is such great encouragement. Let me ask this. So many people are saying, can I put my order in? Like, give them the ways that they can do that if you're open to it.
Yeah. So a lot of people have just been messaging me on Facebook. Also, like, my Instagram direct message. If you have my phone number, you can text me. But those are like the ways I've been taking orders currently. It's through social media. My Facebook page is Jasmine Samara with an X. And then my Instagram is baking_my therapy.
Nice. I have to ask, what is your favorite thing that you've baked?
Um, I don't know. Like I was thinking about it, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm progressing each cake that I'm doing. I try to do something new each time, and I think I would say the most I've been stretched so far probably is like the baby shark cake. If you've seen it on Facebook or Instagram,
Yeah.
Working with fondant for me, that was the first. But I don't know. I like them all. I mean, sometimes I'm really sad to see them go. Like that's how I like them so much. But
I've never heard somebody say, "I'm sad to see a cake go."
it's so
Oh my gosh. Now, what flavors do you do? Like, do you do special requests? Have you had to buy like so many different kinds of flavors?
Yeah. So the benefit of having a mentor that's my best friend, I'm able to like
Yeah.
piggyback off of her recipes and things like that. And I mean, if somebody has asked me for like a special request flavor, I've let them know it's my first time making it. I'll definitely try it before I put it out there. But so far, it's been like vanilla, chocolate, red velvet. I did like a special flavor. It's like a fall spice cake.
Ooh.
So anything that I've been asked to do, I definitely will try. I'm definitely not gonna give it to you if I think it's nasty. I think I have one of the best taste testers, Jasmine Harris, my mom.
And
So
she
she comes
loves
over.
cake, right? She loves desserts, if I can remember
Yes,
correctly.
she does. So she's been over here helping me out a lot too. So it's just been fun all together.
Cool. Well, I have to ask, what's your next big baking project? Or what's something that's like on your bake list? Like you're like, I have to tackle this.
Well, I'm making one this Sunday. I'm pretty excited about it. It's definitely going to stretch me. But it's going to be like a flower pot. The cake is actually going to be a flower pot with flowers outside of it. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's for a milestone birthday, a woman who's turning 80. So I'm pretty excited. I think it'll be exciting for her as well. And then there's just a bunch of orders that coming up. So I'm like really excited to just be able to just try things. Will have stretched me. So I appreciate it.
Has this done anything for your confidence? Like, I know when you first said you started off, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. But can you say that it's built and you feel more confident now?
Yeah, I think I especially feel more confident when like the people who have bought the first time have placed like second and third orders. It just definitely makes me feel good, especially when I hear back from them saying that it was so good, or I can't wait to order again. Like that really builds my confidence to feel like, okay, I got this. Like, okay, I'm not too stressed about it anymore. So just as I go on, I think it's just keeps growing.
You made it when like the person you made it for comes back. Like that's the best review, right? Is second
Right,
and
exactly.
third and fourth time coming. I see PC says he wants a life-size replica of him as a cake.
Yeah, he keeps putting in different cake orders every day for his birthday that's coming up.
He always plans a surprise birthday party. So I like what Zamira said. She said, that's too big of a cake. That is hilarious. The petty has come out on Cedar Hampton tonight. Hey, do you get inspired by any cake shows? You watch Cake Wars or Cake Boss or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, Buddy actually he has a new show that comes on Mondays at 9:00. It's called Big Bake, I think, and it's so cool. And so I watch that every night and try to get different ideas and inspiration from them. So I mean, hopefully one day I can make big cakes like that. But until now, it's been really inspirational just to watch them. So I get a lot of ideas from them, and as well as my best friend, because she sends me cakes every time she makes one. So.
Look, Caleb texted me this question, but I was going to ask it anyway. Since you're in the cake business, would you pick Duff or Buddy?
Ooh. It depends. I guess if you say flavor or technique.
I don't know. I'm not in that business.
I think Duff is his technique is amazing, but he has like crazy stands that he makes, and like.
And he's an artist, right? He's so intricate.
Yeah. So I would probably say Buddy.
And
I don't
Buddy's
have
like
issues.
go big or go home.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's cool. This has been a really fun conversation. It wasn't as bad, was it? You said yes to this and it was not bad.
I know. It wasn't bad. I can't imagine what Chris is gonna ask me to do for the youth next.
I'm
But
excited about it.
yeah, it wasn't as bad. I feel like I'm just talking to you, so it's great.
See, just me and a couple other people and whoever's going to watch on the replay. And I hope that this brings you many, many more orders. But
Thank you.
I don't want to keep you up here forever. But if you could leave us with one thought or word of encouragement, what would that be?
I would probably say stretch yourself. And don't hesitate to say yes.
Yeah.
When God has called you to do something, I think that you'll know. And I think during this pandemic, I would just definitely tell people to like get closer to Him and just hone in on what He's called you to do.
That's good. Well, thank you for this interview, Jasmine. I promise you, if my headphones or whatever is going on was not messing up, we would have had probably 15, 18 more minutes to go. But maybe we'll just have to let you make a couple more cakes and then come back on for a part 2 so you can give us some more lessons and let us know what you learned. But thank you for joining us today. And of course, we wish all the best to your business and that you just continue to prosper and that God blows your mind. And we're just excited. I think the best is yet to come. And I just can't wait to see where this journey takes you. So thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, C3. Well, we will see y'all next week. Oh, if we don't see you next week, please come on Sunday. And we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.